Greetings, gods and goddesses in training. Welcome back to the channel. It is Uncle Makara, All Relations. Today we're talking about, are you truly channeling your spirit guides, or is this just your imagination? Okay. Now, this is a question that I've gotten quite a lot. When we're younger, we have better access to our imaginations. And as we grow older, our adult faculties kind of starts to morph it and distort our imaginations to serve our own ego, right? To serve our own kind of construct in the way that we live. So it's very important for you to understand that the imagination is almost like the doorway, right? I magi, right? The word magi is in imagination, including the word image, right? So you have to start to understand the imagination is the doorway, but contact is the trespasser that starts to walk through it, right? So most people never open the door long enough to let anything through. It's kind of interesting because imagination is almost the step before spiritual contact, okay? They're too scared to make it up, but the mystery schools and the ancient texts knew that imagination was the ignition, not necessarily the hallucination, okay? It's the psycho-energetic clay, in a sense, the divine sculpts with. So if you understand these seven signs, you're not just imagining something, you're actually making spiritual contact with a spirit guide of some sort. Okay. So the first thing for you to note is that the energy always hits you first. Okay. And the ideas that you have and imagine, oftentimes it'll come later. So if you're imagining something, it oftentimes starts in the mind. But when a guide steps in, you'll feel a charge before you hear a word. So you'll feel like, let's say, your chest expand, or you will feel your back straighten, or you feel your breath deepen without your permission, right? It's like something is happening on autopilot, right? This is the contact. It's when your biofield shifts before your thoughts start shifting. The next thing is that your words come faster than you actually think, okay? Thinking is very quick. This is the reason why when you're automatic writing, it might be very helpful as a beginner starting out, because what you're doing is you're slowing down your thoughts, right? Every time you write something down, your fast mind is becoming slow. You're no longer constructing sentences. Now you're receiving downloads at full voltage. You'll start to notice when you're channeling a being, it doesn't sound like you at all. It sounds very different to you. In fact, your cadence will change. Maybe your vocabulary will change, right? You'll know some words like glossolalia that you didn't even know existed in your vocabulary. Your confidence shifts or changes. It's like you are listening and speaking at the same time. That's when the guide is not like around you, but more so it is moving through you. I usually get an energetic, almost like a ringtone, right? When you call somebody, you have a specific ringtone. So it's almost like a different ringtone for every being that I choose to connect with. It's very interesting. And I say ringtone as a way, for the formal mind to actually understand what's going on here. There's a few things going on here scientifically, including gamma wave optimization and a few other things, right? So we have to start to understand that when you're receiving information, you couldn't have invented, or you couldn't have just made up in your mind. That's when you know you've made contact, because you'll drop like a symbol, a phrase, or a technique or a vision, and then you'll later realize, right, I had no way of knowing that. That's not fantasy, right? That's a transmission you're getting. So guides love leaving these impossible breadcrumbs, and it's almost like their signature, right? So in a sense, your nervous system has to enter a non-ordinary state of mind. Non-ordinary state of consciousness is what we call it. So NOSC. You'll start to notice a lot of different sensations, okay? Now, sometimes these sensations can be very uncomfortable, especially if it's a lower astral being or some kind of being that's siphoning from you, or taking away energy from you from entering through your imagination doorway, right? And you getting into a tranced out state or an autopilot state, or maybe you're sedated or something like this, right? That's when they can find a way to really take power. But if you have sovereignty and energetic control, if you start to notice that your own desire within your own body, right, that longing that pulls you towards things, if you can maintain that and just hold that within your system, not let that spill, not that let that leak out, right? Not let that just go everywhere and kind of, start taking on a power of its own, but you almost reclaim your power source, right? You start containing your energy. And this is when you're going to start entering this NOSC, right? Your skin starts buzzing, maybe your hands start tingling, maybe your temple starts pulsing, your crown gets very hot with downloads. Sometimes I'll notice my solar plexus expanding or contracting as well. Releases a lot of the stuck energies to like it's almost like a dragon's heartbeat, right? This is not like some kind of a placebo effect or something like this. There's obviously some kind of a bioenergetic entrainment happening when this is going on. So your field synchronizes with a higher field, right? And I don't think any imagination has changed my vagus nerve like when I've been contacted by these spirit guides, right? You are going to feel a presence that you know is definitely not you. Like a way that you can try this, guys, is if you relate it back to your own life, right? If you can relate an incident back into your own life, it's usually from your own intuition. However, if you cannot relate it back to your own life, or it seems like it's kind of imprinted upon you, or it's fragmented, or it seems very like a story that you're hearing, it loves you like you, is what I mean to say. So that's where it gets really complicated because it's almost like your own psyche that you're communicating with. However, this is not a possession, obviously, it's a communion, right? So when you feel a witness, we always know when we're being watched, right? In a sense, we always have a certain understanding of that. Like if some cosmic elder is hovering above me, right at the edge of my aura, I'm going to feel that. I'm going to know that there's something warm here. There's something more intense here. There's something utterly terrifying because of the potentiality of this power, right? It's never violating, right? And that distinction is everything, really, because you become more you after the contact, which is strange because how can I be more of myself after I just explored another edge to consciousness itself? It's because your consciousness is expanding, right? You've gotten a new reference experience that now expands your life into multidimensionality. Okay, is this making sense, guys? Give me a thumbs up. So that means you become more you after they make a connection with you. Now, a real guide will not inflate your ego. They will sharpen your essence. Okay. And if you walk away more clearer, more grounded, more embodied, more aligned, more ruthless with your truth and what you know, more compassionate with yourself and others, that's how you know, because that's an activation. It's not delusion, right? You can actually measure it from the results of your own beingness. Yes, spirits don't inflate you, they will start to refine you. So this afterglow of them being in your life in micro ways starts to change probabilities, okay? So channeling leaves real echoes because you'll suddenly notice that you're solving problems differently, or you'll feel guided without even trying. You'll feel like synchronicities start to spike, or your dreams shifting, or your intuition starts accelerating, and your old trauma loops, right, stop gripping you because you start to, like I said, reclaim your power center back to yourself, right? So you become the source that you are seeking. So you don't snap back to normal, you snap back into your next version. That's at least what I experience every time that I channel, and I channel every week. I've been doing it for years. The moment after I kind of get out of this trance-like state, I feel more of myself, or something has shifted within me clearly because it's the being has been doing some healing with my own biofield. And so is the imagination is not the opposite of spiritual contact. It is like the organ of contact, okay? So just like the eye sees light, the ear hears vibration, and the imagination perceives this invisible kingdom. The shamans knew this, the mystics knew this, the tantric adepts knew this. Every awakened lineage understood when imagination becomes obedient to the breath in the body, it becomes a gateway instead of a fantasy. So, how do you know that you've made contact? You don't believe, you become. Contact is not a thought, right? It's not a mental thing. But if you notice, man, my posture just shifted like someone just did a spinal alignment surgery on me, right? But in the astral world, hey, did my energy just stabilize like someone just placed a flame in my belly or something like that? Right? Your perception widens like your third eye just cracked open and you came back with the secrets of life. Somewhere deep inside, in your marrow, in your breath, in your timeless belly, you know, not because anybody's told you, not because you want it to be true, but because that presence, whatever being or spirit you came into contact with, rearranged you, right? And you cannot fake rearrangement. It's not possible. If you're doubting yourself, questioning yourself, fearful that you're being delusional or you're having hallucinations, um, that itself, remember, is a sign of sanity. The fact that you're actually worried about it, about these things, imposter syndrome, and like, not really feeling good enough, like all of those are actually signs that you're doing something right, right? Because if you have a lot of regret from your past, that means that you've actually stepped beyond the denial phase, right? You're actually feeling bad, remorse, right? Don't beat yourself up more for that. That's actually a good sign. You see, the mystics, we test everything. We verify with the nervous system, we confirm with the energetic signature, and we cross-check with our synchronicities. We validate with embodiments, like a biopsychospiritual operating system, kind of like how, Ben 10 had the Omnitrix, and he pressed it, and then become all these different beings, right? Similarly, we all have an ability to perceive into our different energy centers in different realms, right? We call them chakras in the Hindu pantheon. However, if you can give them more depth, more of a journey inwards for each of them and understand them very uniquely, personally, independently, and then you find them how they work interdependently, it's really going to help you, save you lots of time with your energy work and your spiritual progress in this path. So now that you guys understand this, what are you going to choose to do now? Because imagination is the gateway. Intuition is the navigator, energy is the proof, and transformation is the confirmation. And if all those four fire up in a ritual or an invocation, you aren't just imagining spirit guides, you're remembering them, and they're remembering you. This is all a game of remembrance. Our spiritual amnesia has taken over, and we've just forgot these gifts. We've had it as children. We've got that little taste or a peak of that state of mind, right? We're like, I'm a pirate now, right? You can just transform into that realm. Why can't you do that as an adult? You have that same imagination faculty, but you just haven't trained it. You stopped training it because society told you that that's a useless skill, to discard it, right? Daydreaming is a useless skill, so discard it. Not even knowing that it's the thing that manifests worlds, right? So anyway, let's get it today. I hope you have an incredible rest of your day. Uncle Makra out, man. Thank you for being a part of this Flow Dojo. May the flow be with you and stay legendary. You got this. We got this. Upward Spiral Gang to infinity and beyond. Boom.